You wrote about me, Lucian.
Who? Who is this? It's past midnight.
I'm Miranda Pierce, and I do exactly what you said I do.
Miranda Pierce? That's impossible. She's not.
Not real? Oh, Lucian, I'm very real. And Sarah won't be coming to work tomorrow.
My name is Lucian Draven, and I write psychological thrillers about everyday people. The kind of stories that make you question the co-workers sitting next to you, the neighbors across the street, the seemingly normal people who might be hiding something darker beneath their polite smiles. I've been told my characters feel too real, that my psychological manipulation scenarios are uncomfortably accurate. As a writer, I take that as the highest compliment. It means my research methods are working. Recently, I've been getting emails from readers claiming to have lived through scenarios identical to my stories. They use words like impossible and exactly what happened to me. While I appreciate the feedback on my realistic character development, let's be honest, it's probably just good research meeting active imagination. But that phone call 20 minutes ago, that was something different. Someone claiming to be one of my characters. Miranda Pierce, a psychological manipulator I wrote about last week. The caller knew details I hadn't published yet. Obviously, it's some reader who's taken their enthusiasm too far. Maybe someone who found my unpublished drafts online. There's always a logical explanation. So let me tell you Miranda Pierce's story. Judge for yourself whether it's possible that someone could be living this exact scenario, or if it's just an elaborate coincidence. Miranda Pierce works in customer service at Hartwell & Associates, a mid-sized insurance company. To her colleagues, she's the helpful one, always remembering birthdays, asking about weekend plans, offering sympathy during difficult times. But Miranda has a different hobby. She collects people, not physically, psychologically. She studies them, maps their weaknesses, and carefully files away every piece of personal information they share.
Sarah Matthews, Cubicle 47B, single mother, 7-year-old daughter named Emma. Financial stress evident from canceled lunch meetings. Takes personal calls during work hours, always apologetic afterward. Divorced 18 months ago, still wears wedding ring on right hand. Stays late every Tuesday. Daughter has piano lessons. Parking garage, level B2. Usually alone. Takes the same route past the security blind spot near the elevator bank. Never checks rearview mirror when leaving. Typical single mother distraction pattern.
Miranda doesn't just observe, she experiments. Small tests to confirm her psychological profiles. A misplaced file to test Sarah's attention to detail. A casual mention of Emma's school to gauge protective responses. A friendly offer to walk to the parking garage together.
Sarah, you look exhausted. Single parenting must be so difficult. I admire how you balance everything, work, Emma's activities, keeping up with her school schedule. She just told me Emma's exact piano lesson schedule, her after-school program, and which neighbor has the spare key. People are so eager to be understood that they gift-wrap their vulnerabilities.
But Miranda's experiments were just the beginning, because once she understood someone completely, she moved to the collection phase. Miranda's collection method was elegant in its cruelty. She would slowly insert herself into her target's life, becoming indispensable while simultaneously creating the problems she was solving.
Sarah, I just heard the strangest thing. Someone in accounting mentioned they saw a man waiting by your car yesterday evening. Tall, dark jacket. I'm probably worrying for nothing. But with everything you hear about parking garages... I waited by her car myself, of course. Took photos from 3 angles. Now Sarah knows someone was watching her, but she thinks I'm the one protecting her.
Within 2 months, Miranda had positioned herself as Sarah's closest confidante at work, the person Sarah turned to when she felt watched, followed, or unsafe. The irony was perfect. Sarah was being stalked by the very person she trusted to help her.
Subject exhibits increasing paranoia patterns. Checking over shoulder frequency increased 340%. Sleep pattern disruption confirmed through social media posts, 4 a.m. timestamps becoming regular. Productivity declining. Perfect timing for Phase 3. Phase 3, systematic isolation. Make her colleagues think she's becoming unstable. A few carefully placed concerns about her behavior. Some observations about her paranoia. Gentle suggestions that she might be cracking under pressure.
Miranda's masterpiece wasn't just destroying Sarah psychologically, it was making Sarah complicit in her own destruction. Because every time Sarah turned to Miranda for help, she was feeding more information to her predator.
Tuesday night, level B2. Sarah's staying late again. Daughter's piano lesson runs until 8. Perfect timing. She'll walk to her car alone, checking over her shoulder for the phantom stalker. She'll never realize the real predator is the one who convinced her she was being watched. Tonight, Sarah's going to have an accident. Nothing dramatic, just a small collision in the parking garage. Maybe some confusion about whether she hit something or someone hit her, but the police report will mention her increasingly erratic behavior at work. Her colleagues will nod knowingly.
But Miranda's plan was more intricate than simple psychological destruction. She was crafting a narrative that would make Sarah question her own sanity, her own memory, her own perception of reality.
The beauty of psychological collection is that the victim does most of the work themselves. Sarah's been documenting her own breakdown through her behavior, her social media posts, her declining work performance. I've simply been curating the narrative.
Miranda followed Sarah to the parking garage that Tuesday night, but she wasn't planning to hurt her physically. Physical damage heals. Psychological damage becomes part of who you are.
Look at you, Sarah. Checking your rearview mirror, locking your doors twice, jumping at every shadow. You've become exactly what I designed you to become, a woman afraid of her own mind. Do you know what the most beautiful part is? Tomorrow, when people ask what happened to Sarah Matthews, I'll be the one expressing concern. I'll mention her recent paranoia, her declining performance, her obvious stress. I'll suggest she might need professional help.
But Miranda had miscalculated one thing. Sarah had started recording their conversations 3 weeks earlier, not because she suspected Miranda, but because she was afraid she was losing her memory, her ability to recall conversations accurately.
Miranda, can I ask you something? How did you know about Emma's piano teacher's name? I don't remember telling you that.
Oh, you must have mentioned it. You talk about Emma constantly.
But I just found out her teacher's name yesterday. Emma's been calling her Miss Music Lady for months.
That recording led Sarah to check her social media privacy settings, her work computer history, her personal belongings. She found Miranda's monitoring had been far more extensive than simple eavesdropping.
She couldn't have figured it out. The psychological profile indicated a submissive personality type, low suspicion threshold, high trust indicators. This wasn't supposed to happen. You don't understand what you're doing, Sarah. I was helping you. Someone really was watching you. I was trying to protect you from...
By Thursday morning, Sarah had documented everything. Miranda's impossible knowledge of her personal life, the carefully timed warnings about threats that Miranda herself had created, the systematic isolation from her other colleagues.
I collected her perfectly. Every fear, every weakness, every psychological pressure point. She was supposed to be my masterpiece of human manipulation. How did someone like Sarah?
Miranda Pierce disappeared that Thursday afternoon. She simply didn't come to work, didn't answer her phone, didn't respond to emails. Her apartment was found completely empty, not just of belongings, but of any evidence she'd ever existed there. The only trace Miranda left behind was her psychological profile system. hundreds of files on coworkers, neighbors, even random strangers she'd encountered. Each file meticulously detailed, each person reduced to their exploitable psychological components. Sarah Matthews still works at Hartwell & Associates, but she never stays late on Tuesdays anymore, and she's learned to trust her instincts about the people who seem just a little too interested in her personal life. So that's Miranda Pierce's story, a psychological thriller about workplace manipulation, surveillance, and the systematic destruction of someone's sense of reality. I published it last week on my blog and several underground thriller forums. The response was intense, more personal than usual. People sharing their own experiences with workplace manipulation, office predators, situations that felt too familiar to my fictional scenario. But 3 emails stood out. 3 different people from 3 different cities, all claiming to have experienced situations identical to what I wrote. Not similar, identical. First email. Mr. Draven, I work at an insurance company in Denver. My coworker's name is Miranda Pierce. She knows things about my daughter that I never told her. Your story described my life exactly. How is that possible? Second email. The woman you wrote about, Miranda Pierce. She works in my building. She's been following the exact pattern you described. I have recordings of her saying things word for word from your story. I'm scared. Third email. My name is Sarah Matthews. I work at Hartwell & Associates. Someone forwarded me your story. Miranda Pierce is real. She's been psychologically tormenting me for months. Every detail you wrote. It's happening. Please, I need to know how you knew. Now obviously there's a rational explanation. Perhaps someone read an early draft of my story and decided to act it out. Or maybe I unconsciously based Miranda on a real person I'd heard about. Writers draw from reality constantly. But then there's that phone call. The one that woke me up 20 minutes ago. Someone claiming to be Miranda Pierce, speaking in the exact cold, calculated tone I'd imagined for the character. The caller knew details I hadn't published. She mentioned Sarah by name, knew about the Tuesday night piano lessons, even referenced the parking garage incident. But I hadn't shared those specific details online yet. They were in my private drafts. And now I have 17 new emails, all from different people, all claiming to have encountered someone matching Miranda Pierce's exact psychological profile. She's real, and she's hunting. Miranda Pierce destroyed my sister. How did you know about the filing system? She disappeared just like you wrote. I want to be clear. I don't believe in supernatural explanations. I'm a rational person who writes psychological fiction based on research and observation. There are logical explanations for coincidences, no matter how improbable they seem. My father was a writer too. He left when I was 12, claiming his stories were becoming real. My mother spent years in therapy dealing with his delusions. I refused to follow that path. But I have to ask, and this is purely for research purposes, have you ever experienced something that felt too coincidental to be random? A situation where fiction seemed to bleed into reality? Because right now, I have a choice. I can answer that phone and risk discovering that Miranda Pierce is somehow real. Or I can ignore it, delete these emails, and convince myself that 17 different people are playing an elaborate prank. The rational choice is obvious. I'm Lucian Draven. This has been the first episode of Dark Manuscripts. I'll be back next week with another psychological thriller about the ordinary people who might be hiding extraordinary darkness. But if anyone out there has information about Miranda Pierce, the real Miranda Pierce, I need you to contact me, because 23 minutes ago, I thought she was fiction. New email, subject line, she's coming for you next, Lucian. You wrote her too perfectly. She knows you understand her. Sarah M. I never gave out my personal email address.